Hello, welcome. In this class, we'll learn the three basic trigonometric ratio. So let's get on into the class. Trigonometry is the study of triangle in relation to their sides and angles. So in this aspect of mathematics, which is known as trigonometry, we deal basically with triangles. So trigonometry connects triangles, basically triangles and angles and their side. Okay, so these are terms we need to note, some basic terms: the hypotenuse, the opposite, and adjacent. Okay, we'll say the hypotenuse happens to be the longest side of the right angle triangle. Okay, so for instance, in this diagram below, you can see diagram angle triangle ABC with angle theta and then sides of A, B, and C, just varying sides. Okay, between this length and this length, which happens to be the longest side, which is C, is the hypotenuse. Okay, let me just put down something. So this is the hypotenuse because it's the longest side. Then the opposite side is the side opposite an angle. So here we have an angle. There is no angle, there is no specified reference angle here, but we have a reference angle here, which is this. Opposite is this point pointing towards, so this is the opposite. Now we find the opposite when we know the reference angle. I think an example below will help us understand better, but for now let's just move on. Okay, adjacent the side, okay, the other side of triangle. So here we'll have an other side, which is just this B, right? Okay, this place happens to be the adjacent. Okay, so this other side is the what? The adjacent. So we've explained that. We've explained the basic terms we're working with, which is what? Hypotenuse, opposite, and adjacent. Now let's go proper into the three trigonometric ratios. The three trigonometric ratios we have sine, cosine, and tangent. Okay, just in a moment we'll be explaining these basic trig ratios, which you have sine, cosine, and tangent. Okay, let's go down. Okay, now to explain this, we'll use SOHCAHTOA, and that will make it very much simple. So we'll be working with SOHCAHTOA in order for us to explain this. Okay, so that's it. Okay, for the x, we have sine, and sine talks about opposite over hypotenuse. The next one is cos, which is cosine. Cosine talks about adjacent over hypotenuse, and the last one is tangent. It talks about opposite over adjacent. So once you know this SOHCAHTOA, I don't need to cram this or think about it so much. You just know it. It's very much simple. Okay, now we can actually write in short forms. I think let me use this triangle below to explain this. Now let me write the trigonometric ratios of this triangle here. Okay, we'll have triangle, which is the one we have in an example, ABC. Okay, the three basic trig ratios are what? Using SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA will help us. SOHCAHTOA. The first one is what? Sine. So what is sine? Sine is opposite over O over H, hypotenuse. So I'm writing the short form. And the next one is cos, cosine. So I don't need to write it complete. Cosine, which is cos, is adjacent over hypotenuse. And the next one is what? Tan, tangent. Okay, tangent, which is what? Opposite over adjacent. Okay, from this point we are almost done with writing out the trigonometric ratios of what we have here. But now, because we are not just writing the trig ratios like the standard way, we want to refer them to this angle. We have to impute this angle, which is this sign we have here, right? So just don't mind my writing. Okay, let's continue. That's it now. So now we've referenced it to this angle. How can we relate it? From here we have the longest side as the what? The hypotenuse. Now opposite the angle, which is this, is what? The opposite. And then the other side, which is happens to be what? The adjacent. But now we can now write this out. Sine of this angle is talking about what? Opposite over hypotenuse. What is opposite? Opposite is A. So we can have A over what? C. And we are done with that. Now for cos, we have adjacent over hypotenuse. What's adjacent? B. And hypotenuse is C. So B over C. So it's very much simple. Just pay attention to details, work carefully, and then you get it. Then tan, what is tan? Tan is what? Opposite over adjacent. So what's opposite? Opposite A, and adjacent is B. so A over B, and we are done. It's very much simple. There's nothing difficult about this. Okay, let's just solve this one more time and we'll move on. Okay, so for the basic trigonometric ratios in the triangle above. So what are the three basic trig ratios? We said what? Sine. Okay, sine will have a reference angle there. Sine will have cos and what? Tan. So these are the three things we want to solve for. Okay, what is sine? You refer back to SOHCAHTOA. That will always help you. SOHCAHTOA. Sine is what? Opposite over hypotenuse. And what is cos? Adjacent from this point. Adjacent. So let's take adjacent first. Adjacent over hypotenuse. And tan is opposite of adjacent. So opposite over adjacent. Okay. Now, what is the hypotenuse here? Now, mind you, the longest side is no longer at this point. It's not towards here. That's the hypotenuse. That's the longest side. It's always easy to figure out. Then what's the opposite? Opposite is not 8. Be careful. We have a reference angle here. There is no reference angle, well indicated there. So the reference angle is this one here, which is the angle we have here. Now, be very careful because they actually switch this angle. So here becomes our opposite. Opposite side is the side opposite what is it called, our reference angle, and then here becomes our adjacent. This might be confusing at first, but if you can pay attention to details, I am very sure you won't miss this. So let's continue from here. So sine of this angle, okay, sorry, not theta, sine of this angle becomes opposite. What's the opposite? Opposite is 6 over 10, right? Okay, we can further break this down, like dividing both sides by 2 here is 3 and 2 here is 5, so you can just keep your answer like this. Then cos of the referenced angle is what? Adjacent over hypotenuse, 8 over 10. 8 over 10. We can actually break it down to 2 here is 4 over 5. And then tan. What is tan? Tan is opposite over adjacent. So what's opposite? 6 over, just a moment, 6 over 8, right? 2 here is 3 over 4, and we are done. So it's very much simple. Once you can pay attention to details, I bet you definitely solve this. Okay, so remember this class is brought to you by Precision Academic Word. Okay, we'll have an exercise, and I want you to do this on your own. So I'll give you a hint on how you can beat this question. Okay, what you have to do is you have to solve for this in 2 ways. This is triangle A, C, and B, whatever, any way you want to take it. Now, the first thing you have to do is solve for the basic trig ratio of this first one. So for this triangle now, the opposite is what? Is 10. So this is the opposite, is 10. Are you getting me? And the adjacent is this part, and the hypotenuse remains the longest side. But now we have another angle, which is this, right? This is the reference angle of this. The opposite becomes here. Pay attention to this, and then the adjacent is here, but they share same hypotenuse. Now something is very, very important here. What's the important thing? The reference angle. The reference angle tells us the opposite, and from the opposite we can further get to our adjacent. Is that clear? So let's say I want to solve for the opposite of for the sine of both what is it called, triangles, of both angles, so sine of this angle here, I'm using green for it. Sine of this angle is what? Opposite over hypotenuse, according to SOHCAHTOA. Remember, we always refer back to SOHCAHTOA. Okay, so from here, what is the opposite for this green angle? Is 24. And what's the hypotenuse? 26. You can actually divide and break them down. This is 12 over 13 if you want to break them down by 12, but that's left for you. Okay, let's go on towards this one. So sine for this angle now, this one here, is what? Same thing as opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite hypotenuse. What's the opposite for this angle? It's no longer 24, now it's 10. 10 over, what's the hypotenuse? 26. So you can cancel that to have 5 over 13. Okay, I want you to figure out the cosine for both angles and the tangent for both angles. I just gave you a hint on how you can do the first one, and that's nice. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. My name is Johnson. I'm your instructor for this class, and always check us at Precision Academic Word. You can send us an email, or you have our official WhatsApp contact just here. Make sure you do that tax, right? Okay, thank you so much.